Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hater plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a date with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In a yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the oh well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
All right, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to week number 5 of our Vanquisher League. We are very excited for a matchup between our number 1 and number 5 seeds, TMG Death Knights and Summit Esports Goblins. I am joined, as always, by my good friend here, Mojo. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here. You and I got to cast TMG Death Knights in week 3 in their victory over Excessive Sloth. I'm excited to see them again here. We know something about the team, and I'm excited to see them go up against Summit Esports. Big make-or-break week for the Goblins.
Yeah, something to notice as we get kind of later into the split, playoffs coming up, the way the math breaks out, TMG, very, very likely to make playoffs anyway. But with the win here today, the math breaks out, 100% clinched. And then for Goblins, if they miss this win, it's going to be very difficult on their end. So as you said, very big game either way. And yeah, I'm excited. We had a great series to watch, with TMG Death Knights last time. Huge Oriana Shockwave to kind of close out the series. Really great, good replay material. But no, I'm very excited to see how these teams go at it today.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be fun. I think, as we said, it's a really, really big match for the Goblins, especially if they could win here, go up to 3-2 in the standings, and bring TMG down to 4-1. It would even the playing field a lot. It would make it so much easier in these next couple of weeks. If they won out after winning here, they would probably lock playoffs, which would be great. If the Goblins lose today, they could still make playoffs with 2 more wins, but they would have to rely on some tiebreakers.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those moments where you kind of have to, if you don't win today, you're leaving it in the fate of somebody else's hands, right? Definitely not the position that you want to be in. So I'm definitely excited. There's some cool things in draft, as people have kind of developed their fearless strategies as the split has gone on. We're starting to see more and more creative things. I do know that Summit Esports Goblins has done some fun things in the bot lane with some of their picks, so I'm very excited to see how that shakes out. Just, as normal, I can't wait for more and more League of Legends.
Yeah, we should actually have a really fun bot lane matchup here today. I hope, as we know, Goblin, one of the standout stars on Summit Esports, Goblins, of course, but also on the other side, Crushing Rock on TMG Death Knights is so high up in the league stats right now. I believe he is number 2 in kill participation. He's number 4 in KDA. He's number 2 in kills per game. A funny thing, he's number 4 in KDA while also being number 4 in deaths per game. So I think which I believe is 4 in least deaths. So he's high on kills per game, low on deaths, high on KDA. He is crushing it right now. So hopefully an exciting matchup with the bot lane. I know bot lane matchups right now are not just meta-wise, are not always the most exciting. We get a lot of Corki, a lot of that sort of stuff, a lot of Varus, but we'll find out because we're in draft.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think something cool to point out about draft, at least for game 1, we do see a little bit more consistency, right? We're seeing a lot of those power picks banned out, Skarner, Yone, Aurora, Hui, just a lot of these kind of power picks, Jinx, some of these higher priority team fight based AD carries are kind of, the meta in that sense has kind of been settled just a little bit. So very exciting to see what teams, which picks they're going to prioritize with these first sets of bans coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. So we already see an Aurora ban coming out from Summit Esports. We saw FYS be so effective on that Aurora in week 3. In game 2, we saw a complete 1v9 from FYS. So I like the ban. Interestingly, we're not seeing a Skarner ban yet. We're not seeing a Hui ban. I know Hui did receive some somewhat heavy nerfs on this most recent patch. He's been one of the best champions in this league so far statistically, but Skarner's still up.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they prioritize for B1. It is to note, we have seen a little bit of pressure already put on this bot lane. As we said, Crushing Rock and Mitsuki. It's like Syndra is going to be taken here right away. We do know that FYS has quite a bit of play time on Syndra, so this could be, obviously it's a priority pick going to be for the Apotheon, but also a takeaway from FYS. So they are going to respond with the Ahri. Going to see a little bit of some mage battles here in the mid lane. Not necessarily my favorite of the matchups, but definitely leads to some very interesting things as the game goes on. Varus picked up for the side of TMG here. Very standard bot lane. Doesn't have a lot of bad matchups. Very easy to play into. Huge build diversity. Kind of gives you a lot of options. Definitely one of the priority carries right now.
Yeah, sure. A couple of pushing lanes. Hopefully, you can hope the FYS can push and move on the Ahri. maybe affect that bot lane, which is a somewhat more volatile matchup. We see Tristana not one of the premier AD carries right now. An interesting pickup here, assuming that's going AD carry with the Syndra already picked, and a Viego follow-up for Ryan. Viego Syndra, strong mid jungle, good on the mix of damage types, but I'm very interested by Tristana bot.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's interesting to see the Vi ban. I mean, I think Vi traditionally one of those great pairings with Ahri, another strong jungle 2v2. But we are going to see Ambessa locked in going into our second round of bans. Obviously, huge pick in the top lane right now, but we have seen her floating around in the jungle occasionally. So it'll be interesting to see where we go. We do have Camille and Tom Kench banned out so far. A little bit more, top lane matchups and maybe some extra support pressure on the side of Tom Kench. Renekton, the last ban from the side of TMG Death Knights. Awan Cake does have quite a bit of time on Renekton. Definitely not your favorite matchup if you're Ambessa, so definitely a good ban for them to pick up there. Again, does lead us to believe that this Ambessa is going to go to that top side. And then we see our final ban rounded out with Rakan, kind of, again, pinching that support pool. Looks like we do have a Xin Zhao locked in as our confirmed jungler for the side of TMG.
Xin Zhao, I believe, the highest presence champ in the league right now, most picked at 26, tied with a couple of other champs. But yeah, Ambessa, I saw the Camille ban, I was like, you better also ban Renekton. Those are some of Ambessa's worst matchups, especially just, those are strong top laners in the meta anyway, so good bans. But yeah, Ambessa suffers in those matchups. I'm a bit of an Ambessa one-trick at the moment, so I've played those a couple times. We see Gangplank and Rel rounding out the comp for some of these Esports Goblins.
Yeah, Gangplank has a really, really low presence in this league, so it's going to be very exciting. We haven't gotten to see a lot of those games. We are going to get our bot lane rounded out here with Renata. Really strong pairing, Renata and Varus. Very aggressive pairing with Tristana and Rel. The ability to catch that shape, that crash down with the handshakes can be very crucial. It's going to be very interesting to see, if they can time those things right in the bot lane. Should lead for something very interesting. I do expect quite a lot of action in this bot side. Just considering the picks and then considering Xin Zhao and Diego, should be very, very, very exciting. Obviously looking at these drafts as a whole, now that we gotta get to see it, if you have to give a preliminary, just before we get into the game, before we see anything, who would you give the edge to here at draft?
It's a little tough, but I'm giving the edge to TMG. I mean, I think TMG has the edge in this series in general, just skill-wise, ratings-wise, roster-wise, but I'm liking the draft a little bit more. I think their draft is a bit clearer. My issue with Summit Esports is that I feel like a lot of the onus is on Nightmare on the Rel to find those engages, to find those good angles. Like Tristana and Viego love following up engage, but obviously cannot engage on their own, cannot be frontline engaged. Viego can try, but he's really bad at it. So I think TMGD has a clearer plan, right? Finding picks with the Ambessa Xin Zhao, Ahri, is pretty easy on the top side. I think they have the ease of execution that I know we talk about a lot.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think, TMG has great disengage tools. Renata kind of giving them that real weight appeal. Absolutely great disengage, for all of the backline access that they're going to have. But so we are going to go ahead and get into game number 1 of Summit Esports Goblins and TMG Death Knights. Very excited to see how this is going to shake out, see what the level 1s do here. Looks like, TMG just kind of a standard 5-stack. Summit Esports looking to get a little cheeky and run everybody up to this top side here.
Yeah, it's nice. We are pre-lane swap changes, so if they wanted to stay up here, I guess they could, not in danger of being one-shot by the towers, but seems like they're going to move it back down, sort of even out the lane assignment. We'll see each team now taking control of one half of the river, but importantly, some of these sports will be spotted out by that deep ward in the river.
Yeah, absolutely. Something important to know, as soon as they saw all of the members topside, just getting that little, ward in place on the blue side, just very important. Just extra information that they have. But it looks like so far, pretty standard. Viego starting this top side, but Xin Zhao may be looking to start on this red side. We'll see if this is kind of what they hold on to or not, but it does look like that's where he's going to start. So could be looking at something like a split map. It just kind of depends here. Yeah,
split map would be the hope if you're Summit Esports after Xin Zhao takes away the Raptors, but the issue is that the there's a bit of disparity in information here where TMGD knows where Ryan is, but not 100% sure if Summit knows for sure that Xin Zhao is taking their Raptors. They probably can assume they have the ward on enemy Raptors and they won't see him there. So the split map, I think, is very likely, but we'll have to see. Split map, I like for TMGD. It sort of puts pressure down on the bot lane, which they have a hopefully winning bot 2v2 in Varus Renata should be lane bullies. So I like keeping the Xin Zhao down there. Maybe you could look for a dive or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, as you see it already, right? Double ranged into ranged melee, obviously getting the push, trying to zone off what they can. You can see them already hitting level 2, kind of zoning them off completely.
Yeah.
You're going to get Nightmare kind of catching Hamura here. See the crash down coming in. Ignite coming on.
Ignite already. Hamura taking very low to flash the wall. Nightmare flashes after him. Not quite fast enough to catch up. The wind becomes lightning and the charge. Hamura went too far. Falls first blood to the rail. Crashing rock though. Flashes in, picks up the kill afterwards. This is disastrous for the Xin Zhao. His tempo is so screwed.
Yeah, definitely. If you're Xin Zhao now, I mean, it's definitely going to look like a split map. Night Raven taking a little bit of a trade there. But, just you kind of have to make a choice. Like, do you try to contest your red buff here? Looks like that is what he's going to do, level 2.
Yeah, Ryan.
Unable to get it, but Ryan going to get picked.
Charm.
Holy cow. Yeah, and that's the choice, right? You go try to defend your red buff and take your camps. Which the upside is that kill is huge. I mean, that really kind of resets Hamura's tempo. Now, when Ryan gets back onto the map, he's got nothing. He's got no camps. The only thing, Night Raven getting really close here. Wancake pushing. Looks like he's going to be out safe just barely. That's a really close one.
Yeah, tags him with the parlay, but not quite enough damage.
Yeah, that's, just the way most, Gangplank matchups go with melee top laners, kind of a little bit of bullying early on. We'll see if the extra mobility from Night Ravens is able to help combat that at all. Or not, but Xin Zhao getting up here on one dash forward, he is going to take him down, and that was a very, very interesting kind of heads up play by Hamura there to head top and not allow Wancake to take that away. They allow that, prevents him from crashing that wave and really keeps the tempo for Night Ravens.
Yeah, great recovery from Hamura so far. I mean, the somewhat. The very tough attempt at stealing away the Krugs, dying, losing his flash, but then coming back in, immediately picking up 2 quick kills on the map. Xin Zhao's going to be happy about that. As we see TMG Death Knight slightly favored in the Pro Comps draft score. I would be inclined to agree as we watch a Papillon TPing back to mid. Doesn't into the river, but not going to mean much. About even in CS here in the mid lane. Wave pushing away from him, though, so he will be a little down.
Yeah, absolutely. I do, you see that thing from Pro Comps, and I do tend to agree. I like the 2v2 that we have on the side of TMG, both in mid and top, a little higher. And I think they're just going to have better tools in this team fight to disengage from what, Goblins is going to throw at them. But we'll see. I mean, obviously, execution is going to play a big factor. And, we do believe that TMG Death Knights is favored, but, it's clinching for playoff time, so anything could happen.
Yeah, I want to see if some of Esports Goblins can sort of lock in and play above what we've seen so far from them. So see, this bot lane is going to continue to push all game. Crushing Grot pushing and moving, warding up for this dragon as our first objectives. They're about to spawn. Grub spawning soon on the top side within the next minute or so. The dragon already spawned on the bot side. As we see, again, the map is somewhat split. Hamura is down on the bot side now, starting up that Drake of the Xin Zhao. Feels like he's got priority. He's got better items and the tunneler and stuff. He has a pushing bot lane. He can start this dragon for free.
Yeah, no, you have 2 winning lanes in the moment. Both have priority. We are seeing about 1,000 gold lead here from TMG. Already have the first feat of strength with those first 3 kills, and starting off the second with this dragon going to be completely uncontested. We do see Diego trading on the top side, as is kind of the traditional trade that we make. Whoever takes that dragon loses the grubs. But yeah, the recovery by Hamura is absolutely crazy here. I mean, just that gold lead alone. I mean, just being able to recover from that very, very unfortunate support kill. It's very exciting to see.
Yeah, but look at this. Ryan not able to secure the third grub as Mitski roams up with Homura through the mid lane pushing, top lane pushing. Ryan has to back out after taking only 2. So the third grub is going to go to TMGD. That is pretty huge. We see Crushing Rock engaged on Hex Flash in from Nightmare. Rocket jump from Tristana as well. Not going to do much. Crushing Rock just walks it off. But 1 grub to TMGD prevents that feat of strength progress for some of these Esports Goblins. That's a big pickup.
Yeah, very much so. You know, it just really leads to those boots. And we do see this. Mitsuki just kind of roaming around with Homura, taking away some of Ryan's jungle. This is really, really crazy. I mean, this is kind of a big heads up play. They're really trying to make sure that Homura is going to have agency and stay as much ahead of Ryan as it can.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really good. Like we've said a bunch of times, really good recovery. FYS hiding behind the wall here. And Fogor, nope. Gets stunned up, pushed back by the Apotheon. Apotheon is a little far up. I would like to see Homura go and just clear maybe top to bot now. I do think it's been like over a minute since he took a campus. We see, though, no. Spirit Rush in from FYS. Apotheon forced to flash out as he's tagged by the wind, becomes lightning. Flashes out, walks around the wall. He's got Rel here to walk him back into lane. 1 ult blown. Exchanged for the flash, Syndra not happy about that. Very easily pickable now in the mid lane.
Yeah, so I want to point out, you know, Mitsuki and Nightmare both moving around the map, trying to help make plays, keep, you know, in Mitsuki's case, trying to keep Homura, you know, ahead and in this game, and you know, Nightmare roaming mid, trying to help protect the mid lane or see what other plays can be made. We do see Ryan and Nightmare coming behind this bot lane.
Yeah, flash in from Nightmare. Crushing Rock looks like he is just dead. Ignited up, got the explosive charge on him. Goblin takes him down, a kill over to the Tristana. That's pretty important. Mitsuki gets out, though, without blowing a flash. Crushing Rock, also importantly, does not blow any of the summoners. A great wraparound gank from Ryan and Nightmare coming down from the mid lane, though. Now going to move in to his opponent's blue side jungle, steal away the Gromp. So a little bit of a comeback play from Summit Esports. That gold's looking much more even.
Yeah, absolutely. Something to point out is, like, when you're pushing so far up like that, that control ward in the tri-bush doesn't really give you any value, right? You know, in this case, they walked right through it. They rotated all the way around through that arch in the jungle. And you know, with the ward being so shallow and only protecting that tri-bush when they're pushed up so far, it basically did nothing. So, you know, very heads-up play by Ryan and Nightmare. Great to see them pick that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Is gold pretty much entirely back to even now, about 300 gold advantage for TMGD, so not going to mean much. Ryan on a control ward here, unspotted in the mid lane. Comes in, not going to hit the W. FYS going to walk it out. Quite nice. As we see the next round of objectives, not quite up yet. A little action on the top side. Public Execution traded for Gangplank's Flash. An interesting thing about the Abessa Gangplank matchup is he can just W her ultimate and get out of the second half of the CC there, and normally gets to just run it out. But this time, I think with Homura in the area, was forced to flash. See Nightmare up on a really, really deep roam. He is now behind the tower for Team GD, but Homura has stayed here too. It's a lane gank. One kick maybe caught a little unawares. Ignited down already as here comes the Xin. Zhao with the Crescent Guard dealing so much damage. Nightmare, no flash, no way to escape. That's going to be 2 kills to the Ambessa. Night Ravens picks up a double.
Yeah, very interesting. It almost looks like Nightmare trying to look for a dive here. You know, Homura wanting to recall, but I think he sees this TP come in. Yeah, I think they see this TP. So he's going to cancel his recall, you know, saying, hey, let's look at this. Let's see if we can get something going. And unfortunately, you know, the Rel being level 6, not being level 6, just really didn't see the TP, but just wanting to make sure he maintains his freeze. And yeah, able to kind of make quick work of that. The Nightmare, unfortunately not being level 6, made a pretty big impact here.
Yeah, if he had the Magna Storm, they maybe could have gotten a little bit more done. Night Ravens was taken somewhat low in this, but that's a great 2v2 for Xin Zhao and Ambessa. I think Gangplank needs a couple of items, needs some time to scale before he can really fight. And like you said, Rel needs at least level 6. Night Ravens is on a bit of a power spike now, though. Voltaic Cyclo Sword picked up for the top laner. Here's we see Homura walking in, trying to contest the second set of grubs. Ryan is already on them. Gonna smite one away already. As Homura coming in, FYS dashing in now, though. Ryan forced to flash out, forced to ult out, but Night Ravens comes down, collapsing from the top side. FYS picks up a kill. This next set of grubs may end up falling to TMGD, although Summit Esports still here to contest if they want. Nightmare Hex flashing in, crash down. There is no one behind him. This Rel may be out a little bit too far. Xin Zhao dashing in, Mitsuki here as well. Rel still level 5, pulled back by the handshake. Homura's gonna pick up an easy one as Nightmare extends way too far. Now 7-2, 2K gold lead for TMG Death Knights, plus 2 grubs.
Yeah, might be a little bit of some miscommunication here from Nightmare. You know, they initially get the contest out, huge damage onto Ryan here. Night Raven's able to rotate first, Easy will pick this up, and then yeah, it just seems like some miscommunication here with Night Raven. He kind of goes in alone, uncontested. You know, they don't even see him in this bush except for the grubs kind of giving him away. But yeah, nobody's here, no backup. Night Raven just, or Nightmare, excuse me, just going in, and unfortunately, like you said, still not level 6, just being put even further behind now.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan was there. I guess the hope is that Apotheon is close enough that he can get an ult off out of the Ahri, and maybe they can get something done as we're back into some action here. I'll hold my tongue there. Crescent Guard is down. Homura picks up a kill already. Crushing Rock has slain Ryan. Nightmare still level 5. Still no flash, trying to get out. It's a great buster shot in from Goblin. Does a lot of damage. Rocket jump back out with the reset. FYS so low. Nightmare flashing in. Crashdown does find the shutdown on FYS. Apotheon now behind them. TMGD forced to run. Goblin rocket jump again, flashing the wall to find Mitsuki. Crushing Rock now flashing in as well, hoping to pick up a kill. Gets 1, maybe gets 2, not quite as Goblin lives just at the end. Double kill, a good fight for Summit Esports, although on the top side, we see Wandcake fell in a 1v1 to Night Ravens. It is chaos all over the map.
Absolutely. You see the gold lead, you know, still pretty close, about 400 gold, but look at Goblin. I mean, like you said, just barely able to sneak it out there, but he is humongous at this point. You know, we were talking about who's going to be those playmakers, and Goblin continues to be that one for the side of Summit Esports Goblin. Looks like we're going to get another look at this 1v1. Night Raven's here, catching him on a recall. Maybe he had a shop open. Looks like a little bit of late reactions. Oh yeah, just very clean pickup from Night Raven. Not a lot of fight back. Huge action in the mid lane.
Oh my god. Yeah, Crashdown and Magnustorm in from Nightmare. A lot of damage. FYS going to dash out, but Homura already caught. They can push down further into this mid wave, maybe go pick up the Dragon. Summit Esports, couple of nice plays here, trying to take back some pressure in the game as FYS ult will run out soon. We'll see if they want to dive. Here's a replay of this mid lane fight, how it all started. The Hex flash in from the Rel as Ryan comes in. Wow, Homura was just chunked low in the mid lane. Overstayed his welcome a little bit. Nightmare and Ryan catch him off guards as now they're going to move on to the Drake, I would assume, back on live. We'll have to see. Yes, Ryan and Goblin now taking the Drake. Summit Esports, huge comeback plays in the last couple of minutes. A couple of overextensions from TMGD and well punished by Summit.
Yeah, it's really great to see, and just slowly, you know, the Syndra continuing to scale, picking up a bunch of assists. You know, we've seen them complete full Sorcerer's Boots. Luden's Companion completely did. And then, you know, the Tristana just getting big. You know, I will assume we'll get close to this Infinity Edge, you know, with this back here, and just, you know, that Tristana is going to be pumping out a lot of damage as this game goes on.
Yeah, something important to note that I don't think we talked about in draft is that while I do personally still think that TMGD's draft is better, I do think they get outscaled. I think that they really want to win on this 1 to 2 item mark, and if they could snowball from there, great. To see Night Raven's already very ahead still of Wandcake at the top lane as Homura just running out, tried to pick up a little cheeky blue buff steal, wasn't able to get it, Blast Cone over the wall. But I will say that with things like we have Poke Varus here with Comet, right? Ahri with Electrocute, these kind of things. These champs will get outscaled by Syndra and Tristana.
Yeah, I do see that, but I think something to kind of pay attention to is the sturdiness and the you know, the durability that's going to come in from Xin Zhao. You know, Ahri's still going to have some great scaling. Crushing Rock's still going to have some great scaling. And then I think, you know, surprisingly a little bit, Night Raven, you know, kind of depends on the build they choose to go. But there's some decent amount of damage and scaling that we're going to get in from Mbessa as well. So, well, I do agree we need to be careful. Ooh, the vision here getting sucked in.
Wow, yeah, Homura with the Crescent Guard living for so long. Actually gets a reset! Oh my god, off the Renata W. Nightmare now crashing in, we'll see if he can get anything done. Apotheon to the backline does find a toss on a Mitsuki. Mitsuki will fall. FYS in the mix now, though. Nightmare quite low. Charged up arrow over the wall. Homura has slain him. Came back from so little HP in the Crescent Guard there as Apotheon now trying to get out. FYS still here, still has the ultimate. Not going to chase further on Apotheon, though. They're going to take 3 kills, excuse me, and be quite happy with it.
Yeah, that reset save, we're going to get a replay here. It almost looks doomed. Like, Homura goes in here, and it almost looks like they're going to lose the fight immediately here. But Mitsuki able to kind of help save him and pick him up. Great target selection, killing the Ryan, and then, being able to dash over and get that reset going. Very well played, and I want to say bailed out a little bit. That could have gone really bad. Ooh.
Yeah, bailed out with the bailout. We'll see more action back on live. This is a bloody game. Homura now in the middle of 4 members and doesn't have the ultimate up. Just going to get caught. A bit of an overextension. Felt too confident with Night Ravens behind him, pushing too far into the jungles. We've seen them do that 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah, just some overextensions, maybe trying to, like you said, kind of push that lead, not let them, try to snowball the game out. And unfortunately, like you said, overextending a little bit and having the opposite effect as intended.
Yeah, as we see, Apotheon actually has a bounty now, 250 gold bounty on his head, is stacking up quite well, has the Ludens completed, Hextech Alternator and Aether Wisp as well. Very strong on the Syndra in the mid lane. We'll have to see how he can affect these fights as Mitsuki maybe a bit caught out, takes a ton of damage. That's what I'm talking about from the Syndra. See some of these Esports here looking to claim the Rift Herald. This would be, I believe, their second of 3 neutral objectives. They have 3 grubs, but those 3 grubs did not count towards feats of strength. This should be their second objective towards feats of strength alongside that Hextech Drake they already have. Rift Herald goes to Ryan. It's his inventory. I'll have to see if they want to maybe look to see break this mid tower with it. Yeah, they're just going to pop it immediately. They say, we don't want to wait for Dragon for this. We're just going to summon it up right here.
Yeah, and if you'll note, I mean, I think it was a good heads-up play for them to kind of force that where they could. They had rotated their bot side up, but unfortunately a little late to even contest, and now you've broken up in mid lane. It's the biggest piece for you to help get vision as the game goes on, so huge heads-up play from Summit. And they're playing this game very well. I think, obviously, we think TMG is the number 1 seed right now. Definitely the favorites for this series. Is Crushing Rock and Mitsuki very low, having to run away from this top side. We did get a Gangplank ultimate here, kind of pushing them out. But as we said, TMG just really kind of maybe faltering a little bit, and some of Esports playing up.
Yeah, some overextensions, some bad trades as they take a very losing 2v2 in there here, and they're actually going to lose the entire top tower. This is the power of Tristan on the split push, right? You lose that 2v2 to her, she takes a full tower. They're now going to recall, reset, look to hopefully go out bot lane, push in that lane and see if they can contest this dragon here. I want to see Gangplank run top side or run straight to the Drake at the TP top side to cancel the Ambessa push there. As we see TMG actually pushes their bot lane out through the mid lane, trying to get mid pressure to walk to this Drake. Looks like we may have a 5v5 here, or at least a 4v4.
Yeah, both top laners with TP up. Very interesting. Something to point out, I think Goblin, looking at his build path, plated steel caps in his inventory. It did just get a recent nerf from 12% down to 10% with patch 25.5. But, finding some value in those huge AD targets that are going to be on top of him. Thinking of Ambessa's ability to dive the backline, obviously the Varus poke, and of course, looks like we're going to get Shattering Strike here.
Ooh, yeah, Homura dashing in. Nightmare with the crash down in, but the Crescent Guard is up. Homura taking no damage. This Goblin over the wall way too far with the rocket jump. Has to flash back out. Ryan ulting into the middle. Cannot quite get a reset. Nightmare now low. Night Ravens is here to clean him up. He's on a rampage. Goblin's got no flash, got no jump. He is shut down. Apotheon picking one back up at the backside. It is so far 3 for 2. Apotheon and Wancake have to see what they could do. Some low health bars. Mitsuki a little low. But Homura is still here, hitting the Dragon. The jungler alive should mean Dragon secured, but Apotheon wants to say no, dodges out of the handshake. Really nice. So much damage from the Syndra here. Wancake full HP too. They're walking up. They want to see if they can contest this. Oh, double stun off the Syndra E. Just not quite enough damage to take down Crushing Rock. As Wancake now on the backside, not going to get the bail out there from Renata. Mitsuki handshakes him back. Syndra down as well. So low from Mitsuki. We'll see if Wancake wants to keep contesting. The Dragon should fall to Homura's Smite any second now. And there it is. Dash back in with the wind becomes lightning. Wancake wants to get more done. Nightmare now over the wall with the blast cone. It is a bloodbath here. FYS has TP'd into the bot side. Dragon goes to TMGD after a remarkable effort from Summit Esports is just not quite enough.
Yeah, something to point out, the healing that we saw from Sundered Sky on Homura's build. Absolutely crucial. Was able to keep him alive, saved him from an untimely death in the beginning of that fight with all that burst damage, and just so much, to kind of dissect. And we can get a replay here in a second. It looks like they are going to start, some of these Goblins start up this Otacon, and maybe see if they can sneak it out before TMG can kind of get onto the map.
Yeah, and with how bloody this game has been, that is a ruinous Otacon, as we see. Nope, no time to talk about that. Nightmare crashing down out of the fight. They're going to take off this Otacon. They say, we can't actually get this Magnet Storm down in, and they may have just leashed this for TMGD as they come back out. They pick the Rel. Goblin now low. Wancake a little bit low. Apotheon still bot side, not going to TP up. That's ruinous Otacon down. Homura wants more. FYS in on the flank, charms up the Viego. He is a goner. FYS still 3 charges. The ult. Wancake, see what he can do. Oh, Apotheon's here though. Stuns up the Ari as Night Raven's in with public execution, not able to get enough damage down. 1 for 2 in terms of the trades, but that Otacon still went to TMGD, although I'm not sure they picked up the flowers. I must assume that they did on the top side of that fight, but they chased for more kills afterwards, so I'm not actually sure that they did.
Yeah, it would be definitely unfortunate, as it's kind of one of the big draws from that Otacon, is the extra experience, the adaptive force that you're going to get from all those flowers. But yeah, I mean, just able to break open the mid, kind of an overextension from Summit Esports, thinking they had more time. We did get confirmation that the flowers were left, but they are still there, able to sneak them back in time before the despawn. Heads up, so
awesome.
I can check for it. But you know what? I gotta appreciate, TMG's. No, we're gonna push this. We're gonna push this fight even more. We're gonna take everything that we can.
As Nightmare crashed down on Homura here, though, maybe caught out. Nightmare is all over the map as the Crescent Guard. Homura wants to go in, though, see if he can get anything onto Ryan. Ryan ults in with the Viego. Bail out for Homura, not quite gonna get it. Reset for Viego. Ryan walking pretty after that. Nightmare, no matter if he's dying or getting a good engage off, he is making the action happen, that's for sure.
That's definitely true. Something to keep in mind, this Apotheon is, slowly going. FYS in a little bit of trouble. Spirit Rush able to get him out, but look at it. Apotheon is just slowly getting very, very big here. 187 CS, 4-1 and 8, 2 completed items, working on what looks to be Shadow Flame, just close to finishing that 3rd full item. Just getting very, very, very strong. And I think that's going to be something crucial for Summit Esports, is having both of their carries with good influxes of gold. And, it'll be come down to kind of how we can play these fights out. But they're definitely in a position where they can still take it home. Looks like we are going to have a little bit of a pause going on here. We'll see if we can get that resolved here shortly.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right about Apotheon. I mean, we've seen in the last couple of fights that he's been so close to being able to completely 100-0 either Crushing Rock or Mitsuki, and not quite able to do it. So I have to see once he gets the Shadow Flame completed if that sort of changes things in these fights. But so he said gold actually exactly dead even right now in the game. Still 3 grubs to 3, 2 towers to 1, but 2 dragons to 1 in the opposite direction. TMG up in dragons, Summit Esports up in towers, as makes sense for their compositions, but really neck and neck game here. So much action though. We're only 23 minutes in, and that's like, what is that, 34 kills?
Yeah, it's quite a bloodbath. And like you said, just very even overall across the board, dead even gold lead. Something to think about kind of how these fights are going to play out. Obviously, TMG looking to go in and kind of dive, get those picks, take an immediate numbers advantage with the immediate burst damage from either Ambessa or Ari. Of course, we have Poke, Lethality, Varus coming through. And we do have the kind of the tank Renata, Locket of the Iron Solari coming through. Versus the side of, Summit Esports, where they really just want to keep Tristana and Syndra alive and safe as long as possible. And, if they can do that, they're going to put out damage. They're both on 2, working on 3 items. Specifically the Apotheon getting some key shutdowns very close to his 3rd full item. And I think execution is going to be very, very key here. While I do still like TMG and kind of what their team comp's trying to do, and they do have great backline access to hop onto Goblin, to hop onto Apotheon. It's just, I would say it's a little harder to execute at this stage with the amount of power that some of these sports carries have.
Yeah, you may actually be right that the tide may have sort of turned in terms of ease of execution over towards Summit Esports. So to see, Wancake is still down a considerable amount in that 1v1 though, right? Down, has not completed his 2nd item, which Night Ravens has, working on his 3rd. Night Ravens also up a level, so we have to see if maybe the Ambessa could be the difference maker in those fights. As we're going to take a little bit of a break, we are still trying to figure out what is the cause of this pause, but we will let you know as soon as we do. All right, we are back in the game. Believe it was a bit of a Night Ravens disconnect, but is now reconnected. And we should be good to go here. As we see, we missed just ever so slightly. FYS actually killed in the top lane there. Have to assume it was by Apotheon, now dead for a couple of seconds, as Baron will be spawning here a little after he respawns. But yeah, gold still quite even, a little in favor of Summit Esports, but these next couple of fights will really decide who is going to come out on top towards these big neutral objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. Something I want to see is kind of, who's getting to these objectives first. As this game goes on and these team fights become more and more apparent, and these objectives become more and more important, who is taking the extra time to set up for these objectives? Are we getting to see Mitsuki and Hamura run around together to secure this vision? Obviously, Nightmare being a little tankier, can go in with Goblin or Ryan himself to also set up vision. It's something I like to see a lot is the taking extra time before these objectives. Looks like we might have a pick on Night Raven here. Huge crash down. Whew, absolutely deleted. Face checking that bush. And this is what I was talking about, right? It's like, who's going to get in there? Who's going to get their vision set up and create these opportunities? Playing inside these pockets of vision. And SE, Summit Esports has great vision on the spot side setting up for this dragon.
Yeah, so we see a replay of the top play that we missed briefly up here. So see, FYS stunned up. Apotheon, that is a nice mid lane solo kill. Oh, flashed. Well, the Syndra ult was already on. You hate to see it. But yeah, 2 picks going the way of Summit Esports now in the last couple of seconds should secure them a pretty uncontested Drake. So we see Hamura and Mitsuki are up on the top side now. They say, all right, screw the Drake. We're not going to fight for it. They can have their second Drake. It'll go up to 2 Drakes to 2 once Ryan takes this down. And they're going to see what they can get on the top side here with 3 members in the top side jungle. Probably not much. Apotheon is backed off, as we'll have to see. First tower did go to Summit Esports, so this should be feats of strength over to Summit Esports, assuming they already got the... because I believe they got Herald and 2 Drakes, so that should be feats of strength. We'll see.
No, TMG should have already had it. Looks like Hamura is going to come in.
Oh, you're right.
Back by Apotheon. Yeah, TMG got the second set. They had the 2 dragons and Otacon.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Otacon being the third neutral objective taken. Kind of locking that in. But no, we talk about this a lot in our cast. It's like, I do love to see TMG realizing, like, hey, we can't contest drag. We don't have the vision. We're down a member. Let's just not even try. Let's go see what we can get elsewhere. And yeah, they didn't get anything on this top side besides a Gromp. and some vision. But I appreciate the fact that they at least recognized, hey, we can't do this. We're going to try something else. I think a lot of teams are made or broken on the fact of that level of decision making and like really trying to recognize when you can't make plays. Ooh, we're going to get a little bit of the chains just going slightly wide there, missing on Goblin. A little bit of a desperate play. I mean, I like the idea of looking, but I think probably a little bit of a hopeful shot there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have found much. Probably would have just blown the cleanse off the Tristana. Goblin sitting pretty here with cleanse up, flash up, W up. Not going to die to something like the Chains of Corruption, but I don't mind shooting it out. It's got a fairly low cooldown, already almost halfway back up. So see a little action down here on the bot side. TP in, trying to protect Wonkick as Apotheon's TPing in. Stun up on her Night Raiders. Great crash out from Nightmare. Magna Storm doing tons of work. Night Ravens is blown up completely. Mitsuki flashing around, but we'll see if he can even get out. Jump in from Tristana. He's got the bailout on, but it is not enough. A double kill for Goblin. This Tristana is getting fed. Summon Esports going to walk it up towards the top side. Apotheon quite low, but we'll just see what else they can get off of these 2 kills.
Yeah, I think, Apotheon doesn't have TP, so this is something to keep pointed out. They may look towards Baron here. We are going to get a quick replay out and see just kind of what happens. Like you said, the protection for Wonkick here, the entire team rotating, very, very clean, huge damage put out by Goblin, like you said. Just kind of completely deletes Night Raven there. The stun, good flash by Mitsuki, but unfortunately they have too many ways forward. Going to get him completely taken down. Looks like they are going to get chased off the Baron. Looking back at live here just a little bit. Unfortunately, I think Apotheon. We are going to get into a little bit of a fight.
Ooh, yeah, it didn't quite work at first, but a lot of damage. Goblin and Rampage. That is enough damage off the explosive charge to kill FYS. Night Raven now around the back. Have to see if he can clean up a little bit here. But no, actually trying to get out. Wongkick in the middle of 3. Going to fall down to the Xin Zhao. Night Ravens hits a nice laceration on him when there. Hits the public execution as well. Blast going in. Forces the flash from Apotheon, but he is still going in with the E. Hits the Q2. Going to fall to another nice E from Tristana, though so much damage. Goblin is unstoppable, but gets shut down by the piercing arrow from Varus. Crushing Rock from downtown snipes him. 4 dead on the side of Summit Esports. TMG looking for the Baron.
Yeah, I love that. Really being able to take that. I love Night Raven's commitment, saying, hey, if we can take this out, whether I die or not, this is going to open up a Baron angle for us. And Ryan kind of has to try to work some magic, look for a hero play. It's going to be something very difficult. Already blowing that ultimate, kind of being chased down, just trying to get them off the Baron. Looks like they are going to just go ahead and non-commit. Ryan kind of achieving, Chains of Corruption landing. Looks like not quite enough damage here.
Yeah, piercing arrow lands. FYS here now, though. Ryan trying to flash out, gets knocked by the next Varus Q. They were pulled off the Baron, so objective achieved, I guess, but blew his ult, blew his flash, and lost his life for it. But yeah, you're right. Big win for TMGD in that last team fight. Night Raven's putting in so much work, getting so much done off the back of his TP. Goblin not quite able to free fire in that team fight, not quite able to find those resets and go forward. As Wonkick also sort of TP'd in the middle of like 3 members, just kind of unfortunate, and fell, which I think was a big swing in that fight. Crushing Rock also finding the great snipe at the end there. They don't get the Baron off of it, but the control of the game is a little more even now as we move into this next Dragon, which should be up quite soon, about 30 seconds on this next Infernal Drake. This would be 3rd Dragon for either team that gets it, put them on soul point. So I will imagine that we're going to see both teams want to contest this.
Yeah, you just see TMG obviously moving in here, trying to get some vision taken care of. Very fed, level 16 Night Raven, kind of leading in, moving this charge. I do want to point out, though, we talk about scaling and things going on. If we look at Gangplank here, just finishing the 3rd item, Lord Dominic's Regards, that's going to be a pretty big item spike as far as Apotheon getting huge damage down. FYS.
Apotheon blows up. Hamura is in there. Ryan is down too. Great play from FYS and Hamura to catch out the mid jungle on their red buff. I was going to call attention to the fact that Syndra is already level 17, actually. She's scaled up as well, and you're right, the Gangplank hitting 3 items, big spike for him, but it doesn't matter. If you fall before the objective even starts, the Dragon will go to TMGD. Great play from FYS.
Yeah, and able to take out Ryan there too, gives them full control over that. They're able to contest the mid wave. Goblin and Nightmare can't push up, and now they get to kind of go look at Baron and potentially take it, but at least get in there and kind of get some vision and get set up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. As they're going to move their way up towards this topside river. See Nightmare on a flank here up in the topside tri-brush, but I believe would be spotted out by the Scuttle Crab there. No, moved up to a different bush in the topside. So not spotted just yet, but they are going to start the Baron up. Nope, at least aggro it, but immediately going to come off of it. Maybe looking for a pick instead. Spotted out by the blue trinket though. Nightmare still, I believe, now has been spotted actually by a blue trinket of his own on the enemy red buff. Was looking for a flank, not gonna find it though. Now gonna have to sort of crash down over this wall, maybe hope he can execute before someone catches him, but I have to imagine Homura is going to catch up to him. No, he is on a journey. He's actually might make it all the way to the fountain for an execute. Wasting a lot of time from Homura as well, so we'll see what's happening here in the mid lane if they can maybe win a fight off the back of that. They can't. Nightmare is down. FYS pushing it on the top side, not baited in to take the fight. Ran Homura around the map, but just dead for 30 seconds.
Yep, and now that numbers advantage, we get to take another look at this Baron. Top wave pushing, mid wave neutral, and full vision control still belongs to TMG Death Knights going into this Baron. Looks like we are going to go ahead and get it started up.
Yeah, I think the flank attempt from Nightmare was just a little bit too much. We'll probably give over, an uncontested Baron for TMGD. Summit Esports going to push out that mid wave, see if they can do anything, maybe see if they can catch a pick off the back of this Baron, but I don't think so. Moving 5 strong in here for TMGD. Ryan and Goblin forced to run out through the mid brush, running into a ward though. We'll see. Wancake is with them. Does TMGD want to chase anymore? It looks like they do. They're going to chase them all the way down to the bot lane. Homura and FYS trying to cut off their exit here. Yeah, FYS on the flank. They are running to a tier 2 here. Ooh, flash from Goblin to avoid the charm. Nice by FYS. Goblin gets out of Homura's in there, though, with the Crescent Guard. Wind becomes lightning, lets him go in. Oh, the public execution is huge from Nightmare. Finds it onto Ryan. But a great crash onto Magnustorm from Nightmare is so much damage. FYS taken low. Mitski blown up immediately. Apotheon putting out so much of the Syndra. Health bars are so low for Summit Esports, though. FYS picks up 1. Crushing Rock picks up 1 with another snipe from downtown. Outranged and out team fighted by TMGD. Wancake trying to stay in the brush, see if he can hold off this wave, but he can't. Homura coming down now. They may just dive this gangplank. 2 down on the side of Summit Esports. 3 down on the side of Summit Esports. Crushing Rock does not miss those Qs. They're going to take the tier 2 tower. They're going to keep pushing in with this Baron. Wow, even more action actually. Goblin jumping just out of the way of the corrupting. Not quite enough. Ryan gonna see if he can hold him off here. Night Raven's dodging out on the stun. FYS pushing in the mid lane though. This is so good, pushing in 2 lanes for TMGD. Nothing just a Tristana and a Viego could do to contest this. They might look to take 2 inhibs here at least. We'll see if they can get more. Nightmare is back out on the map though, so more fight power for Summit Esports. They're gonna move up to the mid lane, try to take the second inhib tower, maybe even the second inhib. Apotheon up in 5 seconds. We'll have to see if there's more of a fight.
Yeah, very, it's sort of over a minute left on Baron. I do think this is a good point to kind of not overstay, realize that you've taken a big hit here. You've opened up the base. You've kind of put yourself in a position to kind of send everybody top and look to close out the game. I think I really like their idea of, let's not overstay. But man, the range, the accuracy, and the damage that is coming out from Crushing Rock right now, absolutely incredible. Definitely kind of helping finish off and carry these fights as time goes on. Looks like we're going to get a crash down flash out by Mitsuki. Just able to kind of, got to connect the handshake as well. Able to kind of get out of there, but, a huge tempo reset. Something to think here is that gives Summit Esports kind of the first look into, getting vision in this part of the jungle and setting up for this drag.
Yeah, Will, objective's not up yet. Dragon is up in 1 minute, though. Remember, TMGD is on Soul Point. This would be Infernal Soul for them if they could pick it up. Control of the river, control of the jungle is over to Summit Esports. Those they're all on this blast cone. They're looking for a play. They blast cone in with 4 of them. Crushing Rock flashes out immediately. They may have gone too far. Goblin jumping in, has a GA, feeling quite confident. Gets a lot of damage down on the Crushing Rock, but his GA has popped. Is in the middle of everyone. He didn't kill the Varus. Crash down in Magnustorm. Good from Nightmare, but not quite enough to even kill Mitski. Nightmare gone too far. The blast cone was ambitious. I saw the angle, but it just doesn't work. Flash charm from FYS. They are finding it all. Public execution onto Apotheon. Wancake and Brian are running for the hills. Wancake flashes out. Can he escape from this Xinjiao chasing him down to the ends of the earth? No, he cannot. M-Pesa dashing onto him. Homura is unstoppable. TMGD say, hey, we might not even need this dragon. They might look to end the game.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate, Goblin just kind of overforcing there, trying to make that hero play, trying to be that person for his team. Coming up short, misjudging an auto, the ultimate, not able to kill Crushing Rock, and then, popping his GA in a very poor position, and unfortunately kind of losing them out on the fight. And it does look like TMG Death Knight's going to go ahead and full send here, and will be able to take down game number 1 for us here today. Wow, what a way to come back from that. I mean, I think there was a lot of give and take. Summit Esports definitely showed some life and showed some opportunity. But TMG Death Knight's holding it together, kind of continuing to execute their team comp exactly the way they want it. I got to shout out, FYS made some great pickups there. And then Hamura, a great recovery from the very beginning of the game. Very poor start and huge recovery as we go on. If you look at that damage. Huge damage, 38,000. Just huge pickup, and it kind of shows just the power of that skirmish that we had between Night Ravens and Hamura, FYS and Hamura. Just very, very strong performance from them overall.
Most damage in game on a Xin Zhao, playing into a Syndra, a Tristana, a Gangplank. That's absurd. Hamura got first blooded in this game, as you said, right? So This is a really great comeback play. He came up back onto the map, got 2 kills immediately. I'm giving my MVP for this game to Hamura. He also made so much space in those fights. He was like the sole engager most of the time for TMGD, right? In these fights that they're winning, yes, he had a couple of overextensions in the mid game. I will give him that. They gave over a couple of objectives. They gave even a lead to Summit Esports at one point that they didn't need to give. And those were off of some overextensions, mainly from Hamura. But in those fights, he's getting in there. He's using the Crescent Guard to make space for his carries, make space for Crushing Rock to deal that damage, for FYS to find those picks, for Night Raven to find those ulties. Hamura, my MVP for this game.
Yeah, I would absolutely have to agree with you. Great performance, great recovery. I mean, I think we don't talk about it enough, is the mental aspect of League of Legends is something that's often overlooked. And I think the ability, is to kind of recover from such a poor start. Also, we look here at self-mitigated damage from Crescent Guard. Oh, you talk about the Syndra and the Tristana and all that damage they're trying to put out. Talk about a powerful ultimate in this team comp. Xin Zhao, 43,814, the most self-mitigated damage, all from that Crescent Guard. I mean, that's absolutely incredible. I also think, Xin Zhao in this performance specifically goes to show us, the power of Sundered Sky. I feel like this item kind of gets overlooked. It's like, oh yeah, it's a standard. We build it. We don't, whatever. But holy cow, the amount of health regained in those fights, the amount of close fights that were turned, by the on hit of that item. And then, the synergy that we have between Hamura and Mitsuki in this game, very good. Huge bailout moments, roaming around the map together, making sure Hamura stayed in the game, getting vision together. I think that early investment, for Mitsuki paid off tenfold as the game went on.
If you're Summit Esports here, you can come back from this. They showed great signs of life here. Goblin put out a ton of damage. Apotheon did so much work on the Syndra. Really powerful performance. I think what you need in game 2 is you need someone else with a go button, so it's not just Nightmare going in all the time. Nightmare racked up a lot of deaths on the rail, and you can blame him for some of them, but not all of them. He's his team's only engage, and when they're behind, he feels like he has to find these picks. He has to take these crazy flank angles. So I want to see them give agency, maybe to Ryan in the jungle or Wancake in the top lane. I want somebody else with a go button, so Summit Esports can show us that great team fighting that Goblin and Apotheon can do.
I agree. I think, like you said, Apotheon and Goblin, 2 of the biggest carries in this game. You can see they have some playmaking power. You can see they're fairly consistent. They had a good performance. And I'm with you. Continuing to find extra engage and playing around them is going to be great. So that's going to be it for us. We're going to take a quick break before we get into game number 2 against TMG Death Knights and Summit Esports Goblins.
slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ay, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hate plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a day with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ay, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In the yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the oh well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Week 5 Vanquisher League of TMG Death Knights versus Summit Esports Goblins. And heck of a game one that we've got. I am here joined by my good friend Mojo. And let's talk about last game. I mean, just absolutely great performance by Homura on the Zinzao. I mean, absolutely crushed it. You know, we can see this draft coming out here. I mean, what's, you know, if we take, you know, you look at Homura here, and I think what was the turning point for you in this game? I mean, where did you think, oh wow, this is theirs, they've taken it, it's over?
To me, it was once they secured the Otacon. I think I would have answered, if you asked me that earlier in the game, I would have answered a little earlier in the game. I think they had a great early game from TMGD. Like, I think they used their pushing lanes in mid and bot really effectively. They got 2 dragons pretty early on. They contested all of those grubs, which was really great. They got 3 grubs, stealing 1 away from the first take, which was really good. I thought they were off to a really great start, but then, you know, some overextensions in the mid game, specifically from Homura and FYS, trying to push too far into the enemy jungle, things like that. But once they took that Otacon, they were pretty solidly in the driver's seat for a lot of the rest of the game. There were a couple of back and forth team fights from there, but they were winning pretty consistently.
Yeah, and I think some things like this often get overlooked, but I really want to point out, Mitsuki made a great effort to rotate around the map with Hamura here and make sure that he stayed in the game and was able to kind of recover early on, but then push that lead and continue to push it forward, whether that was getting vision, invading and taking camps, using the bailout in multiple of those fights, and he really able to secure those victories. But just overall a great performance by TMG Death Knights, and very excited to see what they can do in game 2. I'm with you. If they can cut out some of that overextension, maybe nerves, trying to clinch their playoff spot, I think this would be could be a clean 2-0 on the side of TMG.
Yeah, I think there's a high chance we see that, and we'll have to see if some of these sports can sort of regroup and, like you said, maybe get some more engaged tools on their side, maybe a slightly easier to execute draft. I also just think Crushing Rock needs a huge shout out. So many of those team fights would have looked so much worse if they didn't end with him getting like 1 or 2 snipes on the Varus, right? I think that there were multiple team fights in that game where it was like even, or maybe some of these sports favored, and then just at the last second, he hits a crazy Q, gets 1 kill, gets 2 kills. All of a sudden, the team fight is completely in the side of TMG.
Yeah, absolutely. That lethality Varus kind of really pumping damage as the game went on. On the side of Summit Esports Goblins, though, Goblin, the namesake, right? Very good performance overall. I think, as we talked about, the tools and the team just weren't quite there to fully unlock him. And same thing with, the Apatheon. Get a little tongue-tied there. I really wanted to see their ability to kind of be unlocked as well, because I think for the most part of that game they had good positioning, they stayed alive, they preserved their health bar, they put out damage in a safe way, and some of those fights were very cleanly won because of them. So I'm with you. I want to see their draft kind of build around them and give them ways, better go buttons, more engaged, ways to unlock them throughout the game.
Yeah, something that favors a little more front-to-back team fighting than they had this game, right? Maybe a tank or some kind of engaged tool for Owan Cake. Same for Ryan. I want him on something like the Skarner. Skarner was just up, guys. Like, this is game 1 of a fearless series, and we just, like, nobody wanted to play Skarner, which, like, clearly fine if you're playing the Xinjiao, doing well on that. But as our producer just said, another engaged champion here, all Hecarim in this week's Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Yeah, my rerolls were not granted once again. But yeah, I mean, looking here, Hecarim, we got a good shout outs here. We got a couple of High Noon enjoyers giving him a couple of kisses. War Eagle marrying that High Noon. Some Western vibes there. We've got a couple of killers on the side of Elderwood, Hecarim. I don't know. I can't see some thought process behind here. I think no splinters was the phrase that we were given. And then, of course, marrying the Arcana, and not to quote a producer of a certain name, but those abs, though. So I can tell you, it's, always love this segment. Kiss, Marry, Kill, super horse favored this week, and very excited to see where we go from here. Check out the other streams, see what other content creators and producers have done. But yeah, Hecarim for the week this week.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I went with Elderwood for the long term. I think homey vibes. I'm getting nice vibes. Sort of like he's a forest spirit of some kind. Arcana kind of scared me off. I don't know. It's a bit hardcore. Something about the like very sharp, pointy armor. Always got the helmet on. I wasn't loving. And High Noon Hecarim, I think, is hot. Objectively hot. Maybe not in the way that we want him to be hot, but he's hot in one way. And so, I don't know, figured kiss him. Yeah, it gives me,
I agree with you. They can hear me. And like I said, I am standing behind those dem abs, though. Like, I stand behind.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think the cool thing, too, is I just think about this a lot with some of the High Noon skins. High Noon Hecarim specifically just reminds me so much of Ghost Rider. I really get that. You guys remember, like, the original Ghost Rider movie we had with Nick Cage? That makes me think of that. But anyway, it's always a cool segment, very exciting things that they're going to do. And I'm very excited to see. We've had some really cool ones of these two So as time goes around, I think as we get into March, maybe we'll see some interesting. We get to St. Patrick's Day. There's a couple of cool green skins. We have Shamrock Malphite and Leprechaun Vigar, and there's some cool options that we can look at. But we are ready for game number 2. We're going to go ahead and hop into this draft and see if Summit Esports Goblins can mount a sensible defense. Looks like we are going to have a side selection switch. I think I can see a little bit of thought process behind this. Is Nightmare, who actually was receiving a decent amount of praise in some of the content leading into this series. Poor performance in last game, right? Kind of outplayed by Night Raven, put behind, not able to be impactful in the game. So I think kind of giving him that R5 and that counter pick seems to be the choice that Summit Esports is going, saying, hey, you know what, we need you to be effective in this game if we're going to win. So we're going to give you the best options to do that.
Yeah, the Gangplank for a 1-kick was not quite able to impact the game enough. I mean, he went down 3 kills pretty early. Once he got to 3 items, he wasn't able to really get barrel chains off, wasn't able to really do much in the fight. So I agree. I would like to see him have more agency. There's a Skarner ban from TMGD. Thank you. I guess game 2 is finally we're like, oh, now we can't play Skarner.
They heard us.
As a couple of engaged junglers out, J4 out, Vi out, Skarner out. So jungle pool a little bit pinched. Maybe go down to some stuff more like looking at Maokai, Sejuani, that kind of thing. But we'll have to see. First pick, Jax for Night Ravens. We saw him play this in week 3 versus Excessive Sloth, and he, I believe, got 3 solo kills in that game. So Night Ravens, great Jax player.
He did, and not for the fans out there, I do believe we saw on OP Hamura has played a little bit of Jax jungle. So there may be a little bit of flexibility that we have. Of course, we are going to see the Gnar, a semi-traditional pick that kind of gets going into the Jax here. Different levels of that wave where Jax is favored and then Gnar is favored and then it goes back to Jax. And so very interested to see how that'll play out. We're going to see the Diana locked in for the side of Summit Esports. Could be mid or jungle. Bel'Veth locked in for the side of TMG Death Knights. That's an aggressive pick for Hamura, and I think that's... Oh, we do have a little bit of a switch up. This makes a lot more sense. A little bit of a change. Jinx being the B1 makes a ton of sense there. Jax still being locked in. Braum being in kind of as that counter engage after the Diana lock in. We are going to see a classic pairing in the spot side of Lulu and Kog'Maw. I do like this kind of hyper-scaling, very strong lane out of Nightmare and Goblin. We talked about unlocking Goblin and really putting him in a position to be able to put out damage and kind of carry these team fights. And I think you're allowing that to happen here. And on the side of TMG, I mean, Crushing Rock and Mitsuki are kind of continuing to show and prove themselves as one of the best duos in the league right now. And I think, you're putting, Crushing Rock on this other hyperscaling AD carry and giving him some good protection with the Braum.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jinx can contest Kog'Maw further into the game. I was excited when we saw Bel'Veth, I will say, but no Bel'Veth in this one, at least so far. But I do also like what Summit Esports has done here. They're taking Nightmare off of Engage. They're saying, hey, you played Engage for us last game. We appreciate it, and we're going to give that over to Ryan. Now they have picked up the Gnar. Gnar can play the Engage role. Diana can play the Engage role. I already like this so much more. They have front-to-back team fight here. They have multiple members with the ability to engage on those fights, so I like what I'm seeing from Summit.
Yeah, TMG locking in this Twisted Fates for FYS. Huge playmaking abilities. I think he did a pretty good job. Bel'Veth still gonna be locked in.
Okay.
You ask and you shall receive, Mojo. Bel'Veth's still gonna be locked in for Hamura. A very aggressive jungler. Needs to really kind of power farm and increase those passive stacks. To be successful as the game goes on. We're going to see Vigar locked in, as for the mid side of the Papillon. I do kind of like this Vigar and the cage and the zone control that you can create. When you think about, the ability of Jax and Bel'Veth to kind of dive in and get on this backline and get on those people. I do like the cage, and it's also kind of some zoning tools for Kog'Maw as well. So it's a very interesting kind of draft. I mean, looking at it just objectively, despite the teams that have picked them, just the champions as they are, who do you think has the edge here in draft?
It's a tough one again. I'm going to give it slightly to Summit Esports in this one. I could see it going either way. I do think that I trust TMG maybe slightly more, but Summit Esports has done what I wanted them to do. They've taken the onus of engaging off of Nightmare. They've given it to their top jungle. They have scaling. They have great team fight in Kog'Maw, Diana, Gnar. These champions are great at team fighting. They can scale into the later game. They don't have pressure, right? Hopefully, they don't feel any pressure that they need to make plays in the early game, right? That pressure actually may end up on TMGD trying to use the Twisted Fate, trying to use the Bel'Veth to find early kills. So I like what I'm seeing from Summit.
Yeah, I do kind of like this, like you said, a little bit more traditional front to back, the ability to unlock Goblin, right? That's what we're saying. It's like, we're going to unlock Goblin, we're going to allow him to kind of carry these fights and move us forward. The one thing I'd be slightly worried about looking at the team comps is TMGD. If they can get their side laners ahead, it's going to be very difficult for Summit Esports to answer. You know, if this Jax can get, you know, up and out ahead of this Gnar, it's going to be very difficult. And the same thing with Twisted Fate, the ability to move around the map, push waves, and then kind of rotate. It's going to be tough. But we are going to go ahead and hop into game number 2 here. Let's go ahead. I'm just so excited to see how this game plays out. I think Summit Esports and, you know, TMG, one of the cool things that happened last game is there's a lot of action, right? We were talking about 15 or 23 minutes in, we had 34 kills. So I think no matter what happens and how this game plays out, I think there's going to be a lot of action. And while I do agree with you, I think Summit Esports should not feel any pressure to kind of force things. I have a feeling it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, I do as well. So there we see it. The ProComps draft score agrees with me. Again, Summit Esports Goblins up, I believe, the same amount as last game for TMGD, 54%. So you like to see it. I do think that ProComps likes scaling a little bit, but we will see how it goes. We'll see if I believe those numbers actually are potentially incorrect, and it may actually be the other way. So I was wrong.
Yeah, I think when it comes to scaling, I think unfortunately it's a lot harder to execute those team comps. And yeah, TMGD, a huge draft favorite, 62.99%.
Well,
and like I said, I think for me,
sure.
I think the big part of that is how I just don't see these side lanes going very well for the side of Summit Esports as the game goes on. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Of course, you know, if Night Ravens and FYS are just super behind this game and they're not able to have that agency, then I can definitely see it being very tough to execute. But otherwise, I think we're going to get into that point where they're going to be able to draw so much pressure that it's going to be very difficult for them to kind of hang throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. But if there are a couple of solo lane players I trust, it's Night Ravens and FYS. See, Night Ravens taking a bit of a trade here early on. Wancake took bone plating in the Gnar. He does not want to fight in this lane. He wants to get out. They both taking grasp. I mean, hey, who knows? But probably not a solo kill lane for Night Ravens. We'll have to see. Pushing in his wave here, taking a good chunk of damage. Hits level 2 first on the Jax. As you see down here in the bot lane, a little bit of an engaged Goblin stunned up by the Braum Pass and forced to use the cleanse already. Polymorph on a Crushing Rock, but the Guardian proc takes no damage. Goblin down to half health. That's a bad start.
Yeah, great trade on the side of TMG. Something I want to point out here, you know, we talked about Bel'Veth and the ability to kind of get your stacks. You really want to kind of like power farm. You know, Hamura did take a very clear, heavy route here. He actually started on his Wolves and is clearing Wolves to bot side to back up, which what this will do is, you know, by the time he gets back up there and takes his Gromp and Blue Buff, those Wolves should be respawning. And he'll be able to take those. You see this a lot of times with chickens, where your junglers will start on chickens and then basically take the same path. So very interesting to see that. I love to see that opportunity. Looks like there may be a little bit of meetup here in the river between Hamura and Ryan, though.
Yeah, Ryan dashing in, Hamura dashing in as well, though. They're going to duke it out, see who wins. Ryan forced to flash out, but FYS flashing over the wall, hits him with the gold card. First blood goes to Hamura. Bel'Veth bloodthirsty in the early game, grabs an easy kill.
Yeah, and I think this is something that for me, I think sometimes there's just not enough full clearing. I think some junglers are just too eager to get involved in the game sometimes, and I like to see a little less. And that was an interesting little vision skip there. I think obviously Ryan has a little bit of the edge here in the 1v1, but you know, Hamura seeing FYS's ability to move and that gold card kind of securing first blood for the side of TMG.
Yeah, exactly what we want to see out of the Twisted Fate, right? It wasn't with the ultimate. He was only level 3, but still using his lane prio to move, to affect the map. And he did it there, right? Affecting what would have otherwise been a losing 1v1 for Hamura and giving that early kill to the Belveth. Pretty important. We want Belveth getting some early kills. We want him stacking up and getting stronger into the mid game. We want him able to take those objectives, right? Able to really contest those objectives. Night Ravens trading aggressively up top side. You see Ryan and Hamura down to the bot side. Hamura taking very low, has been forced to flash. Mitsuki blew the exhaust as well. So 2 summoners for nothing. Summit Esports with a nice bot lane play. Now they're pushing in the wave. Hamura recalling in the brush. We'll have to see if they can even contest the CS. They can. Not looking for a dive or anything, but nice little skirmish for Summit Esports on the bot side.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a recovery able to get there from the side of Summit Esports, kind of having Crushing Rock pushed in, out of mana. It's going to be a lot harder for him to contest. Ryan just hovering just to make sure. Of course, spotted on a ward, but, no bot camps up. Wants to recall and go to this top side anyway. So just always nice to see those. Ooh, Crushing Rock in a little bit of danger. We talked about this Brahm's ability to keep Jinx safe, and I think it's showing in lane, but I think it's going to continue to show as the game goes on. Very, very important.
Yeah, see Papillon stacking up on FYS in the mid lane. Both mid laners very low on mana, so I doubt there will be much more of a fight to be seen here. FYS, importantly, does not have flash. It's important to note Papillon does, but again, no mana, not really much happening there. No mana, no health down here for the bot laners as well. As we see Hamura coming up to the top side. Wandcake, oh yeah, jukes it out. Tries to hit him with the hop. Oh, but it's not quite enough. Has flashed earlier on somehow in the lanes. That's an easy kill. Great gank from Hamura. Night Ravens goes up 1-0 in this early game. 2 kills early for TMGD. Off to a great start.
Yeah, I think shout out to Hamura here. Using his early strength very, very well, right? Skipping all his camps, looking to invade, looking to make a play topside. I really like, Night Raven holding that counter strike, really making sure that we wait for the dash to come out. But when you look, yes, when that play happened, Ryan was up a camp, but now Hamura gets to full clear his jungle. He has 5 camps up, whereas Ryan has 1. Ryan's wolves are the only camp up right now. So as he clears, we're going to see a huge CS advantage balloon after he takes these grubs. The traditional swap that we get in most of these games, we are going to see first Dragon going over to the side of Summit Esports, while TMGD is going to go ahead and get those grubs. I will say the grubs being a much higher priority when you have Belveth versus when you don't. So not necessarily a trade that I think is necessarily in favor of Summit Esports. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes on. Looks like Vigar is going to be at 30 stacks so far, about 7 minutes into the game, making some good progress.
Yeah, see, you're absolutely right. Grubs, higher prio when you have the Belveth team. Also higher prio on a team with good side laners, right? Jackson, Twisted Fate, what we want them to be doing later in the games. We want them split pushing. We want them on the side lane. So hopefully if they can get 6 grubs, it'll be quite important for them. Traded for the Dragon. Ocean Dragon goes to Summit Esports. We'll see trading here in the mid lane. And Papillon doing a lot of damage with just the auto attacks. FYS walks it out, though. Not too worried. CS relatively even down here. A bit of a lead for FYS even after Papillon grabs these, but not too worried about it. Vigar going to stack up, as we said. Night Raven jumping in on Wandcake here. Does get the stun, but pops out of it. Yeah, it should be trading pretty even up here with both grasps on, although Night Raven slowed up a little bit. Yeah, Hamura has to come in and bail him out. Ryan now coming in, not level 6 in the Diana, but Meganar is here for Wandcake. Yep, Night Raven's just going to use the little jump, get out of range, gonna back off. No play to be made.
Yeah, something to point out, Hamura actually went in and stole that red buff away from Ryan again, and then kind of stood there and waited, see if a play was available. And guess what? He still has camps. He still has 5 camps up to go full clear down. We're still going to see the CS lead balloon. So, I mean, great performance from Hamura right now. Understanding, hey, my side lane's got to be ahead. I got to get this Jax ahead, right? Picking a lane, playing through it. I really appreciate that. And I think, in your bot side, for the most part, Kog'Maw wants to scale. Jinx wants to scale. There's not going to be a ton of stuff going on down in the bot side.
Yeah, you're right. I think most of this action will probably stay fairly concentrated towards the top side of the map. We'll have to see. Twisted Fate now is level 7, right? Has access to that destiny, can start really affecting these side lanes. Hamura level 6. Ryan not quite there yet, down over 10 CS in the jungle match. Appears to see a bit of a skirmish down here on the bot side. Mitsuki trying to stun up Goblin, not quite going to get it. Goblin has hit level 6. Lands the slow from the zap on a Nightmare, but again, nothing, just a little bit of trading, both teams backing out.
Yeah, slight CS lead on the side of Goblin versus Crushing Rock, but nothing too negligible. The wave's still pushing, getting it to make some of that up. We do see both junglers kind of hovering down on this bot side. We'll see. Maybe there's going to be a play. Shout out to Summit Esports. They have a lot of this vision control on the bot side. They have the crab, they have the entrance jungle, they have the pit warded. But we'll see as Hamura kind of looks to invade here, maybe get a little bit of fighting going on this blue buff.
Yeah, we'll see. Finds Ryan, goes in, hits him with the knockup. Nice in there. Gets the ult, almost cancel Ryan, forced to flash over the wall, though. Great play from Homura on the invade. Forces Ryan out of the jungle. Going to secure a lot of prio down here on the bot river. Dragon not up yet for 2 minutes, though, so nothing much more able to get from that. I do also want to call attention to Wancake has pulled up an almost 20 CS lead in the top side once this wave pushes in. It's about even out now. I think he took it back, but after going down 1 kill in the early game, to have a CS lead still is pretty impressive. Better showing from Wancake so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, of course, the jungler's involved, and I think there was obviously a little bit of pushing, maybe some jungle tracking that was missed on, but it looks like Hamura is going to go in here. We're going to use the cage to kind of disengage. Not a whole lot done. Of course, we do see the Vygar building for this, Rod of Ages build first. It's going to be a little bit more healthy, a little bit, tankier as the game kind of goes on. You tend to see that a little more from Vygar nowadays, just that passive, able to get them that extra AP that they need without the help of additional straight AP items.
Yeah, my worry about Rod of Ages, though, is he also has a tier in there, right? So that's going to be Rod of Ages and Seraph, so it is going to take a while for this Vygar to be online. And some of these sports might sort of suffer from a lack of fighting power in the mid lane there, right? As you see, a Rod of Ages is actually on both sides, so maybe it'll even out a little bit. But FYS still should be more able to affect the map in this early game. I want to see him use the Destiny if he can soon. I want to see them sort of utilize this TF pick if they can. Some more up here on the grubs, trying to take this full second spawn before Ryan even gets here. Don't think he would want to contest with no flash, but we'll have to see. Wancake trading in the top side.
Yeah, I think they're just giving it up. I mean, Ryan choosing to take his Krugs to me is hey, we're done. We're not contesting. I'm not even looking. Which, I do see Nightmare kind of rotating up, which again, the same thing kind of to me. It's like, if we're not contesting, what are we doing up here? Now Ryan kind of in a little bit of a spot.
Yeah, goes and hits him with the Moonfall. Wancake jumps in, not able to find the Gnar. Ultimate, though, is Ryan now stuck in here. No flash, Counter-Strike, and the leap strike in from Jax. 1 kill picked up for Twisted Fate. They're going to turn back onto the Vygar, see if they can find anything. Don't think they will. That's 3 early kills now to TMG Death Knights. And they got the grubs. Ryan tried the late contest. Oh, as here comes the Destiny. They're going to find Apotheon. He flashes over the wall, but it doesn't matter. 2 flashes to follow him. Oh, they're stuck in the cage. Might not be able to chase him down, though. 2 flashes blown from TMGD. Good on Apotheon to escape. But still, huge advantage on the play goes to TMGD.
Yeah, I think, with that engagement, it looks like Goblin getting a little bit, great traps there. We're going to take a little quick replay here. Look at this Braum. I want to pay attention to Braum as this engage. Very well timed disengage from the Braum here. Let's see this come up. This is Meganon looking to jump in and just...
Yeah, that's the important part here is Wancake not able to find Gnar. Oh my god, you're so right. What an ultimate. And then Wancake actually didn't even ult in the right direction, so even if it connected, it wouldn't have done much. But Ryan gets stunned up. This is what happens. He blew the flash earlier in the jungle, right? Night Ravens gets to come in from the side. He is CC'd for so long in that fight.
Yeah, they are going to go ahead and take that second dragon. Obviously, again, trading grubs for that priority on the bot side. Goblin able to kind of push Crushing Rock out, giving them priority. Makes a lot of sense. Something to keep their eyes on, like you said, is they may have 2 dragons, and that's going to give them choices as time goes on. But what's going to happen in these side lanes? What's going to happen if Jax gets left alone with 6 grubs? These are the questions that we have to ask. And like I said, I think the power of these these solo laners is going to be very evident as the game goes on. We do have a little bit of a CS deficit in this top side, but he's not behind, right? That kill more than making up for that 10 CS. And then we do see a slight lead in the mid lane from FYS. Obviously he doesn't scale quite as well as this Vygar, but he's definitely going to have some huge power in this mid game.
Yeah, stacking of the Rod of Ages quicker, too. He bought it quicker, so he's on 3 stacks as opposed to Vygar's 1. I do want to shout out, early dragon stacking is good for the scaling comp, right? It means that in the mid game, or over the next couple of dragons, right? In 4 minutes when the next dragon spawns, if they don't feel that they are strong enough to contest, they can just give the next 2 dragons. It's totally fine. They can give them, wait to scale up and fight for like the 5th dragon on the map or something, right? But I agree, you may end up facing down a Jackson and TF in the side lane, sort of pushing down those towers. So they may have some tough decisions to make as these next objectives come up. So see, Otacon will be spawning on the top side of the map this game. All of the kills have been on the top side. All of these bot laners 0-0-0, except I guess the assist for Braum. But all the action sort of focused on the top side of the map this game. So Otacon will be up there 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think this is a good read from Ryan, assuming that Homura is going to kind of continue to push that pressure that he has. And instead of going to look in his topside jungle, where Homura kind of lied in wait, has actually spent a lot of time the last minute or so, he actually invades this bot side jungle and takes away his red buff. He's looking, he potentially take away the Krugs right now. Looks like he is going to be spotted on a ward. But if they're not careful, there could be a dive potentially looking on this bot side. Looks like they're going to go ahead and not give that up. But, you know, Ryan able to take a little bit of that CS back.
Yeah, only one wave crashing, and Braum can be a bit of a difficult dive target, but it was a nice heads-up play from Ryan to see Homura, nothing really to take left in the jungle up there, so Ryan just gets to grab a camp, sort of hope to even up the CS lead just a little bit. Zap connects on a Nightmare, taking some damage, but nope, pops the emote, walks back out. Nothing really happened in the spot lane. It is a farm fest.
Yeah, something to note, though, is at this stage of the game, I mean, Summit Esports has the full push in the bot side. Jinx taking a little longer to get online, you know, especially depending on the itemization you go, you know, bigger attack speed coming in from Goblin early on, able to get that wave pushing. It is going to be interesting, like you said. I think Summit Esports, especially if they can get onto this sole point, they give themselves so many choices, so many options as the game goes on. And shout out to Ryan here, really trying to help get back that CS. He's only down 2 camps now. So kind of a big recovery from what was originally almost a 5-camp deficit.
Yeah, as you do see, FYS, ooh, taking a lot of damage here. Ryan in from behind, hits him with a moonfall. FYS flashes out, but isn't enough. It will not be. Ooh, shutdown goes over to the Lulu, but still a good pick from Summit Esports. We'll see if they can grab anything else off of it. Rift Herald has spawned. Maybe they want to look to contest that, but FYS caught out unawares.
Yeah, looks to kind of make a very aggressive aggressive play on the Apotheon, and just not realizing that Ryan is kind of sitting in the jungle behind. Unfortunately overextends here, and then yeah, he does get the flash from Ryan, but you know, unfortunately it's going to be one less tool they have to engage in later fights.
Yeah, oh, it would have been so much nicer if that shutdown went somewhere else, though, right? If it went to the Vigar, if it went to the Diana, you'd be a little bit happier. As the first tower, I believe, does fall to Summit Esports. That's really nice on the bot side there. Big injection of gold for Goblin. He's actually quite ahead in this lane. As Wandcake getting dove, gets hit with the super mega death rocket. Rift Herald is summoned up. Wandcake is under the tower, taking a lot of damage, but Nightmare is actually forced to flash out, stunned up. Homura, not going to tank one more shot. It was a little bit messy, but they get it done. Rift Herald down to claim the tower, claim the kill. They're going to push in on the tier 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, unfortunately, not able to get too much. Huge influx of health made going Meganar, you know, obviously the durability added. Very, very close dive. Able to pull it off, like you said. Very, very tough, though. Great response by Summit Esports, not allowing that push to continue. You know, the mid wave, not really, Crushing Rock not really able to do anything extra. Looks like he could be in a little danger, but it's going to go a little wide here. And now we're kind of back to neutral. We're back to what's going to happen with this dragon. You know, we're getting the mid prio here on the side of TMG, but this Cloud Drake is going to be kind of what could be the first real team fight. Big thing to note, Goblin is on the top side of the map.
Oh, what a TP from Wandcake. He sees a little behind enemy lines here, trying to force Homura out of the jungle here, see if he can get a solo kill, but everyone is on him now. Oh, flashing in, not able to find enough damage to kill Homura, though. Homura flashes out, hits the Gnar, pushes him back. See another fight on the top side here as Wandcake will fall down there. Ryan is huge up here for the Lulu ultimate, but stun up onto Apotheon, forced to flash out, gonna get clocked by the Braum passive now though, knocked up, stunned up, 2 kills for TMGD, and they're chasing him all the way back into their own jungle. Dragon has spawned, flash out from Nightmare, a lot of summoners blown, but on the top side, Goblin pushed in the top tier 1, pushing in the tier 2 now as well. They've picked up a lot of towers off the back of this again, Goblin really scaling up, but let's see how this fight started.
Yeah, this TP angle very, very heads up. Actually, I think looking for a flank on FYS. and then Hamura hops over and just happens to be there, not realizing. You can see Roncake initially, I think, was also looking at the fight where FYS was, not realizing that he was kind of spawning in on him, and the immobility from Hamura really able to get him out.
Yeah, Ryan tries to he realizes he's caught in between two fights and tries to engage on the one closer to the rest of his team, but gets stunned up, or Vigar gets stunned up here, has to flash out, and it's just a bit of a disaster for some of Esports. They lose the fight, they lose the dragon, but again, Goblin is really scaling. We haven't seen him in a fight yet. The Kog'Maw has yet to really put out significant damage, still 0, 0, and 0, but he's got that Rage Blade. He's quite up in terms of items. He's up at least 700 gold in this lane. He's got two towers probably by himself.
I think, like you said, he's missing the assist, but big flash coming out from Crushing Rock here. Goblin maybe looking.
Could be there, yeah! Wow, finds one extra auto at the end there, picks up a kill on the Crushing Rock, but now gonna have to try and back out. Has the cleanse. Flashes first actually. He's mega from the Lulu ult, but he is stunned up. It is not going to be enough. He already used the flash. He is stunned, goes into that passive. Night Raven wants to push a little bit further. FYS has a gold card readied. Not going to get anything more, though. Finds a kill into Crushing Rock, good on Goblin, but gets caught out after that as the whole team collapses down onto him.
Yeah, I mean, I think the upside there is you're still putting, 1K going to go ahead and jump out of there, getting almost caught. Big thing to look, though, is like you said, Goblin's on 2 full items. Goblin has Blade of the Rune King, Rage Blade, full Berserker's Greaves. I mean, he is ready to go and start kind of moving in on these team fights. We got another thing going here. Counter-Strike gonna land.
Yeah, Ryan flashes over the wall, but into the waiting arms of Hamura on the Belveth. He is dashing in. The Destiny is here. The Super Mega Death Rocket as well. Pantheon actually finds the first kill, shutting down the Belveth. It's a jungler for jungler trade as Wankick wants to go in, wants to find more. Gnar misses everyone, though, stunned up by a gold card, stunned up by the traps, hit with the zap. Is he able to? No, the second zap from Crushing Rock. We found him as a sniper last game on the Varus. Turns out he's a sniper on Jinx, too.
Yeah, we're going to look and see where Goblin got, kind of caught out here. Great heads-up play, kind of getting onto Crushing Rock, able to get that kill. But then, of course, getting caught out here, being very low on mana. And honestly, a lot of defense, right? You have the cage, you have the Lulu ultimate, you have the shielding. He survives quite a while, but unfortunately, just not enough backup.
Yeah, tries his best. This is a good re-engage here from Night Ravens. As you see, they sort of walk into this bush. They try and face check after the recall. Night Ravens goes in on them. Actually really surprised that Hamura fell first here. That's a lot of damage. The Moonfall from Diana, followed by Apotheon. A lot of damage. Didn't even have to use the ultimate, but Wankick, so unfortunate. Misses ever so slightly hitting the wall there. Gets tagged with 2 Jinx W's and falls a lot. 0 and 4 on the Gnar. Not the performance you want to see. We said we needed to see him step up after the Gangplank game, and it doesn't look like he's able to do it quite yet.
Yeah, and I think the upside is obviously Mega Gnar provides a lot of utility and a lot of playmaking opportunities, even if you are a little bit behind. So it will be interesting to see if he can find those angles, but I think what we're really worried about now is how is this side lane going to go? Look at this Jax build. This Jax build says, I am going to jump on you and stay on you, and you're not going to kill me. He's got almost completed Fimbulwinter. You're going to turn to this Winter's approach.
Yeah.
And of course, obviously the Jax is low on damage, but I think when you're going into this Gnar saying, hey, you're never going to kill me, I'm going to continue to push waves, and I'm just going to be a threat with 6 scrubs in the side lane.
Hoping he doesn't need the damage, hoping that Belveth can kind of make up for that, right? A fairly high damage jungler has the Kraken Slayer already, picking up a Hydra item here as well, so maybe she can make up for that lack of damage and he can just focus on the side lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we see this though. Look at this top lane pressure. We were just talking about this. I mean, the side lane pressure that the TMGD is able to put out here is highly effective. I mean, they're completely pushed out. If TMG wants to, this is where they can go in and refight for vision and use this timer and I just think that's what they're going to have to focus around as the game goes on. We see Ryan cancel his recall, maybe look for something here. I'm not going to go ahead and pull the trigger, but we do have this dragon coming up in 25 seconds. We do see TMGD pushing in for some of this vision, but it's going to be interesting to see kind of how they decide to approach this fight.
Yeah, cross maps are available as we see the Voracious Otacon this game. Much lower kill count And this one, so Voracious Otacon will be spawning on the top side. That is the false life buff 1. This mid tower may also fall fairly soon as it's quite low. Homura looking to get an engage in the mid lane as the Destiny popped. Oh, Twisted Fate to the backside. FYS going in way deep. Finds a gold card onto Ryan, though. He is stunned up. Goes in. Moonfall onto 3. He's big from the... Quite enough, he's stunned up, taken down. Homura in the middle of them all, but good Meganar in there from Wancake. Finds them all. Night Raven's now stuck in the back. Pops the Counter-Strike, flashes out. We'll see if he can get out. Ooh, flash in from Pantheon, not quite able to find him. Almost sniped down by the Kog'Maw, but can't quite get it. A little overextended from Homura. Great play from Wancake to sort of stun him up and counter that engage.
Yeah, absolutely. Big thing to note there, Crushing Rock kind of out of this fight, right? I mean, not a whole lot able to happen. I mean, we're going to get a quick replay here as it goes on, but Crushing Rock kind of isolated, and you know, he took that recall and wasn't really in this fight. You know, unfortunately, I think you're right. You know, when FYS went in, I think he had an opportunity to disengage, and Homura kind of pushed it forward, and I think that was where that fight kind of ended.
Yeah, a bit of an unnecessary fight to me, though. I think they had the mid prior. They could have just turned and walked back towards that dragon, but instead they sort of take a bit of a hands check fight, just saying, look, we think we're the better team. We could beat you here, but they really can't. FYS, Destiny's in a little bit too far. Wancake comes in with a great disengage, and Night Ravens, I do want to shout this out. I like his Jax play. I think this Jax build is interesting, but if we're building this Fimbulwinter Iceborne, right, we can't play like a normal Jax. We can't try to 1v4 the backline. It's not going to work. You don't have the damage. You need to play like a disengaged tank, right? And Night Ravens in that fight, dashing it a little too far, flashes out with his life, and they do end up securing the dragon anyway. Gold lead still in the favor of TMGD, so not the end of the world, but signs of weakness, signs of that overextension that we saw in game 1.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if you're SCG, I think the big thing to point out is Goblin got to free fire almost that whole fight. With Lulu behind him, keeping him protected, and I think that's how you want to see it happen. They spend so much time focusing on Ryan and Wancake, and Apotheon is actually very tanky already. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how we go. You know, you look at this gold lead in the bot lane from Goblin to Crushing Rock.
Wow,
huge lead. Yeah, it's great that they won that team fight, but Goblin just pushed and made a huge presence. Night Raven looking like he's going to get caught out here.
Yeah, looking for a pick on the top side. We'll see a little stun in the jungle as well. Night Ravens does manage to get out. That top lane tier 2 has fallen already, though, so not a lot of safety there on the top side. As we'll see, pushing in through mid lane, though, for TMGD. Great heads-up play from Homura to take the mid tier 1, saying, look, you guys are all a little overextended trying to find a pick, but now they may have overextended after taking that mid tier 1. Going to be forced to run out through this bot side jungle. Nice zap from Crushing Rock may buy him a little bit of time, although Crushing Rock ran the wrong way. He didn't get to take the Hexscape. Pops a very early barrier. Not really sure. Goblin, though, flashing in on him. Not sure about that one either. Ryan dashes in, hits the Moonfall to Crushing Rock, but he is still alive. He walks out of the redemption. He gets excited, and he runs away alive. Wancake trying to salvage the play. Hops in, misses the Gnar, though. The Destiny has been popped by FYS. He is here to help. Crushing Rock makes it out alive.
Yeah, that's a great heads-up play. Huge escape there from Crushing Rock. Like you said, kind of walked the wrong way, put himself in a very disadvantageous position, and you know, Goblin flashing forward. Yeah, thinking he's gonna have it, and just able to peel just enough and kind of survive, and like you said, using the excitement to get out of this redemption. And then all the while, their bot wave is pushing in. You have Night Ravens on the top side pushing in, banging on this tier 2 now. And just like we talked about, these fights, these side lane pressures. I mean, look at the location of the solo laners here. We have Night Ravens and FYS up at their tier 2 and tier 3 towers, right? I mean, this is what we were talking about in that power, and now you get to see them kind of set up over this Baron. And you know, if you're FYS, you're very strong. He's got this death cap completed. He's got a fully stacked Rod of Ages. You know, we obviously have the passive power of Lichbane. You know, the one thing I do want to point out is Vygar, a little over 200 stacks right now, and they are very close to their death cap. Does look like TMG, though, kind of sneaking this Baron really uncontested, kind of catching SCG just unawares and not paying a ton of attention here.
Yeah, that's a free Baron. Looks like a free kill off the back of it, too. Goblin walks up a little too far, trying to check the vision, gets stunned up, gets taken down. Ryan now taken down as well by Night Ravens. Homura on a killing spree. Apotheon trying to find his way out, flashes out, but maybe not quite going to get it. Tower falls to FYS as another kill to shut down to the Twisted Fate. Summit Esports is falling. TMG is pushing in on the Nexus. They got the Baron. They got a couple of kills. They're just looking to end the game. They're pushing it. They take the inhib. Jinx is excited. One Cake and Nightmare. No damage left up. Inhib tower down. Nexus tower down. The next one's going to fall as well. One Cake goes mega but misses the ultimate. Narfot not finding anything. Excuse me. Nightmare flashing out. One Cake knocked up. That is a 2-0 victory for TMGD.
Yeah, absolutely. The side lane pressures, just absolutely crazy. A little bit of a thing here. Obviously, TMGD winning out this game. And again, I think as much as I think the build is weird on this Jax, but look at the pressure he was able to exert. And you're not killing that Jax. What are you doing? And you can see the damage. Obviously, a lot of that is that level disparity, but he put out basically the same amount of damage that Bizarre did. Another big shout out, FYS, kind of a silent, great performance on this game. Obviously, we had that one overextension, but he just kind of existed, and before you know it, was putting out damage and had a CS lead and had a level lead and was able to create pressure. And then Hamura, for me, another great performance. Very heads up jungle plays, very great decision making and kind of jungle tracking and map reading. I think that's something that's often overlooked, and I think he kind of showcased those skills in this game. Something very exciting to see. And then damage. That's 2 games in a row where Hamura just puts out the most damage. Damage taken. He's self-mitigated both, and obviously Belveth able to kind of use that E passive and reduce a bunch of damage, but still just a huge. I mean, look at that. It's almost all self-mitigated. It's huge amount of damage. The rest probably from Braum Guardian proc in one of those fights, but absolutely wonderful performance by Hamura. And then Crushing Rock, kind of excited on that at the end of that, but really just kind of allowed the top side of the map to kind of run the game in both sides. Goblin, while I do appreciate what they tried to do, just unable to execute and really get him online that game.
Yeah, I would agree. That's another MVP performance for me from Hamura, really just running this game from the first minute. Had a very proactive plan, knew what he wanted to do. He got his top side ahead, got his top laner ahead, moved in, took the grubs, got his top laner ahead, moved in, took the grubs, took the Herald, just stayed top lane the whole game, ignored bot lane. They might as well not have existed. You could have completely swapped all of the players, all of the champions in this bot lane. I don't think this game goes a different way. This game was run by Night Ravens, Hamura, and FYS. FYS using the Destiny actually more reactively this game, right? Instead of creating plays, using Destiny to find his way from a side lane to a play, to join a team fight and disengage with the gold card when he could. Really well played, but yeah, Hamura, stellar stuff. TMGD proving why they are now moving up to be tied for the number 1 seed in this group is that they can carry through any player. Right, we have now seen carry performances in the games we have watched from all 4 of their carry players, right? Obviously not the support, but we've seen top lane carry, we've seen jungle carry, we've seen mid and bot carry. This team has multiple threats.
Absolutely, I do think, and again, shout out to Summit Esports Goblins. Tough matchup to go into. I think you showed some great life. I mean, I think there were, especially in game 1, there were some big opportunities where you really kind of took advantage of those mistakes that TMGD had and tried to push those forward, and that was great. So obviously keep working on that, and you've got to keep looking at your drafts, find a way to get, Goblin and Apotheon on champions that they can be effective on. And, as far as Ryan and Nightmare, you've got to find ways to unlock them. That's what you've got to do moving forward. And then for TMGD, for me, obviously they clinched their spots in playoffs, so we're going to get to see a lot more of TMGD as this split goes on. Yeah. No matter what, we're going to get to see more games of them. And I do think they deserve it. I think it's a very clean 2-0. Obviously, some overextension, maybe some nerves, maybe just underestimating some things in game 1, but very clean performance in game 2. And I'm excited. I love 2-0s. I love teams when they kind of have very decisive wins and you can kind of see a player stand out and game plans be executed. And again, overall great performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think some of these Esports Goblins showed promise. I think Goblin is a really great player, really strong performances. I think Apotheon played really well in both games, tried his best, dealt a lot of damage, but I think you're right. I think they need to sort of shore up those weaknesses, maybe try to die a little bit less, but it's hard. TMGD is a great team, right? They're very hard to face off. I do want to shout out next week's matchup for TMGD. They will be playing against Akuma Sabres, the other currently 5-0 team in the group, right? So that is going to be the battle for the first seed, presumably. going into playoffs, assuming the other team doesn't then lose the next week. But really big one for TMGD. They've clinched playoffs now to see if they can lock in that first seed next week.
Yeah, very, very exciting. And again, just more great League of Legends coming here from the Vanquisher League. Super excited to see where these teams go off in playoffs. Before we get out of here tonight, though, I do want to give another shout out. Neither of us repping today. I got to give my FlyQuest a shout out today. But, we do have Titan Esports. We've got some merch coming out now. If you can head over to friendorfoe.com/Titan Esports, or excuse me, Titan. It's going to be a great place to get some of this merch. I actually have a sweater that I'll go ahead and wear next week. For me, I love dad hats, so they have a dad hat for me that I can wear. So very excited. Again, this is me and Mojo. Thank you guys so much for your support tonight. Another great week for Vanquisher League. Have a great rest of your evening.